Howdy, howdy, everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome back to my little digital slice of the grand land of Olean. So today we're going to be doing chapter 7, talking about your appearance. Now, here's a couple of points that we want to talk about going into the traditional idea of attire, right? It's not just about looking classy, but we'll get into some of those points when we get into the chapter. What it is about is somebody's first impression of you before they even see or hear you is they see you, which means that their first impression of you is what you're wearing, and that says a lot about you. So normally I wear like the Lego setup and things like that, but I enjoy dressing more like this than I do dress down in a more casual fashion. Wearing shorts sometimes is uncomfortable for me unless I'm swimming or unless it's nighttime. So most of the time I prefer pants. It's just what I'm more comfortable in. And I enjoy having this. Now, when you have a top coat like this, I wear an all season sweater, right? So this sweater lets me elevate my attire by having more of a blazer cut to it, but it's also not as hot. So if I want to dress down without the vest or something, then I can use this. Now, traditionally, if you're too hot, then you would take this right off. So I'm going to do that right now. So there we go. Now we've just got the waistcoat on, the vest. Now this vest traditionally would be worn in colder climate. As a side note to that, I've mentioned this recently, the cummerbund was designed as a sash alternative because the English knights that were over in India were too warm in that climate with the waistcoat. So they adopted keeping out all of the extra stuff that you could talk about from that situation, because there are definitely merits to talk about there. The idea is we're just talking about what the meat and potatoes of the situation, which is that they they changed what they were wearing to match the culture in order to fit in more and things like that. Now, again, there's other discussions which you can more than welcome have them down below. I don't stifle anything. If you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. All I'm trying to do here is just talk about the facts of what happened and the objective truth of it. So anyway, it's colder right now, so I'm still wearing the waistcoat. As it gets into summer, I might forego the waistcoat. I still end up wearing it sometimes just because I don't have to wear the jacket, so I can just wear the waistcoat, and if I need to, I can unbutton it, I can take it off. Options there. So typically, I will get the one that has the collar. Okay, that's the lapel. I enjoy having the vest that have the lapel because then it definitely is more of a transitional piece. You could wear your coat over top of it, or you could just wear it by itself. Because now the fashion, they make the vest so that you can wear them all the time as your top piece. Now, in a step in the other direction, I just want to talk about this real quick. I don't typically have an overcoat. I have overcoats, but I don't typically understand them. Let me put it that way. I'm not traveling by foot long periods of time, which would require me to have an extra layer. I understand that there are time and places for that. And whenever I think about it, I think of the early 1900s in like New York City or a bigger city where you're putting on your overcoat over top of your blazer, bundling all up with your umbrella, and then walking like 50, 20, I say 50, I don't know New York City well enough, but 20 blocks, which can be a little bit of a stretch by foot. So you might need that overcoat. Typically now what I'm doing is getting in the car. So then I'm taking off the overcoat to get into the car. I drape it down, and then when I get out, I put it back on. I go inside, I take it right back off. Yes and no. I don't wear jackets like that. So for me, I will either wear my blazer or I like the overcoat as an extended jacket, which one of my favorite styles is like the old Navy captain's jacket, which just billows down, and I wear that right over top of this, it still looks like the jacket cut. It's not all that extra fluff to it, and I can take it right off, or I can even wear it in some social settings. I don't have to take it off. I can use it just like the blazer, where if I get warm, I take it off. So with the waistcoat idea, that's going to bring you some a little bit more in different situations. Now today I'm wearing the long sleeve, probably one of my favorite and best button-up shirts that I have. I absolutely love this thing. It's purple flowers. There's texture to it, so looking at it from a distance, the light will catch it and it really just pops. So I really enjoy that. Now sometimes I will button up the collars a little bit more, uh, but for right now, I've just got them buttoned loosely because I'm not going into anything formal. I'm not really doing anything that would require me to tighten up. Like if I when I go to work, I'll probably tighten them up a little bit just so that they're more secure. Now, the last thing I want to talk about for that, I have pants, I have shoes. You know, the difference between wearing a belt and not wearing a belt, all these different things that go into that. That's a whole other video entirely. We just wanted to break down a little bit about what you're wearing, what you're not wearing. I can throw the hat on or I can have the hair down, but traditionally, the hat is going to be seen as more formal. The longer hair is not going to be in a formal setting. It's not going to be something that is going to be appreciated as much, at least in today's culture, which is unfortunate because longer hair is traditional values. It has existed longer than short hair on men. So let's debate that too if you want to. The last thing I want to talk about though is I want to talk about having a good smell good spray, right? A cologne or an Axe body spray, whatever it is that you happen to use. You're going to want to layer up. So for instance, I have my antiperspirant that I will use. No branding here. The idea is that I just put this on. Typically, I put that on long before it's time to put that on because it's antiperspirant. It's not medicine per se, but it should be applied in a way like right after the shower. If you shower at night, put it on after you're done, and make sure you're locking in those pores, especially overnight if you sweat while you sleep. But it's not something that you traditionally would put on right before a run because it might not work because it needs time to activate, just like anything. It adheres to your body. Now, for the smell good spray or the cologne, perfume, what have you, if I remember correctly, I don't have the exact names down. There are a couple of the reason why they're called cologne and the reason why they're called perfume, they're essentially the same thing. It just really depends on where it was made initially, and those names have still stuck to this day. There are cities, there are countries, there are things that these things were made from, just like with all things, that have now captured that name for all time. So this was definitely probably not made anywhere near Cologne or wherever any of these big things were made, but they still carry those names. So I really enjoy this one, Cambridge Night. I love the color. I get them locally, so they're just a lot cheaper because I'm just not going to spend a lot. But here's what I do, and there's a couple of different ways to look at this. So if you want to, and this goes into appearance, I feel like it's attached to it in a different way because it's a subset of your nonverbal cues on when you meet somebody. So for instance, like brushing your teeth and then when you talk, you have that nice minty smell. Here, what we have is it's called the greeting, right? This is what I call it, the greeting. This is how you would try it out too. Put it on your wrist. You might rub it back and forth like this. And so now what happens is when you go to reach out to shake somebody's hand, you're greeting them with a pleasant aroma as well as your visual aroma. Like they can see that you look good and you can smell good in the process, so it's real nice. Now here's something else that I might do. When I have my jacket on, I will also spray a little bit on the cuff of my jacket so that when I take that off, I still have it on my wrist as well, but then the jacket also does it. And so I have this layered effect to it. So the other thing that I might do, a little bit more here, rub, and then I just kind of lightly rub it over my neck and the collar of my vest. Now, I typically will do like a spritzing over top of my jacket as well. And when I say this, I mean one or two, maybe three tops. And we're not even talking full compresses. We're just talking, sometimes I might even do this. Just a small spritz down there. So that if I happen to take my vest off, I know that I still have something underneath for later in the day if I get too warm with it. And we're talking just a minuscule amount, right? Because you're layering it and you want it to build throughout the day. It will evaporate over time. But if you've got it on your clothes, it's going to last longer because your clothes aren't moving around as much. They're covered up. Whereas on your hands, you might be washing your hands, you might be washing your face. You're going to wash those more times throughout the day. And if you do have we'll call it a minimal scent, something that is not meant to be at the forefront of the conversation, you might just have an undertone. You might want to carry a little bottle of that on you throughout the day, especially if you're going to be gone for an extended period of time. So, something to keep in mind there. And that's good. Now, one final note, don't shower in it. Don't just hold it. Don't be like shh, half a bottle like the Axe body spray. No. You're not you want there to be a layered effect to it. That's why you want to shower with that soapiness. I definitely love it more organic, like Dr. Squatch and things like that, for cleaning the body. Especially nowadays, we're learning so many things about marketed and big corporate things. It's not for us, right? So we want to have more organic, more simplistic, get back to the rugged, the smaller ingredient list stuff. Do the nice body wash, do a nice conditioning with your hair to get it nice and shiny, to make it, just get it to healthy. That's really what you want there. And then that way you have a nice soapiness to it. Then you can use your antiperspirant uh, deodorant. Get that on you pretty good. Any of your folds really is where you're going to want that, not just under your armpits. And then that gives you a little bit of extra protection as well. And then on top of that, you're going to want to do your cologne and layer that on your clothes. Don't overpower it, just overlay, because that way when you're starting to take stuff off, you can still smell good even later in the day with a little hint. Just a little hint of that. So what do I do with that? Right here it is. Okay. Cap back on that. And I think we're good to go to start chapter 7. Oh, you know, ta-da! Keep some sunglasses on me. I like to color code the glasses with what I'm wearing, and I'll go from there. So let's jump into chapter 7. Let's make sure here. Hopefully it's not a longer chapter, because used up a little bit more time today talking about some background knowledge. This is something that I've done research for years on, and I love it when people correct me. I love that because thinking critically is important, and I want to make sure that whatever you guys are doing, maybe you have a better way. I want to examine that. I want to devour all the little nuggets. I want you to go ahead and put that down below. If you think I've done something wrong, let me know. If you think you have a better way, let me know, because I want to learn, constantly learn everything, and I will rethink anything that I've ever learned with new information. That is the true sign of intelligence right there. Boom. Being able to change after you have received new information is intelligence. That's what intelligence is. So, chapter 7, let's get into it. It is actually a shorter chapter, so that's good. It's only like 3 pages. So, here we go. Your appearance. Dress for success. Acha. Whatever style you choose to express, spend some bucks to look good. Take your cue from Hollywood. Stars look good, even when they shouldn't. In the Hollywood blockbuster film Romancing the Stone, Michael Douglas and Catherine Turner trek across the desert with her perfectly coiffed. If you give it a moment's thought, it's incredibly silly, but the public likes seeing people who look better than we do in real life. Now, unlike the last, we're really going to jump into here a little bit and give you some impressions here. There are certain things with movies that I cannot stand and have turned them off. If it is too clean when it shouldn't be, I lose the plot. Just because I'm looking at something and I'm like, but you're trying to sell me on the fact, it hurts the brain, right? Because it's like they're too clean. Why do they look so clean when you're trying to tell me that they're dirty? It's confusing. Okay. You are a star when you take the stage. Show me that you respect me, unless you're a rock star. Then show me that you don't give a damn about what you think. Let me read that again just to hone that in. You are a star when you take the stage. Show me that you respect me. Unless you're a rock star, then show me that you don't give a damn about what you think. Dress appropriately for the occasion. Tuxedos, so common among magicians in the past, now shout cheesy lounge act. In all but those few occasions where all the other men are similarly attired in penguin wear. The old rule stands: be the best dressed person in the room, but don't be overdressed. Successful corporate magician Bill Malone understands this. According to the October 2002 issue of Magic magazine, one day, I probably should subscribe to that. If it, I'll look into it after we're done. One day, says Bill, I looked around and saw what these people were driving, the way they were dressed, and what kind of jewelry they wore. And I realized right away that it was all kind of a game. If I wanted to play, too, I had to look like they do. So I immediately bought new clothes and stuff. One of the things I needed to fit in was a Rolex, but I didn't have the money for it. So I started giving magic lessons, and I kept giving them until I saved enough to buy one. It was all part of the game. Just in case you want to know what that game is, I'm a man of culture. It's called Days de Mar, the game of houses. Look into it. I agree totally, except about the Rolex. Thanks to my entry into the investment world, I get to pal around with some pretty powerful folks from time to time. And Rolexes, believe it or not, no longer carry the catch it they once did. Just be sure that whatever timepiece you wear, it sends the message you want. Hello, Kitty. Deadpool. It's the message, that's for sure. And if you have to give magic lessons to upgrade your wardrobe, start advertising. Do it. Do it up. This rule applies regardless of the venues you work. Even if you feel appropriately dressed in a t-shirt and jeans, make sure your t-shirt and jeans are the most upscale ones in the room. Very nice. Hands and nails. A discussion on a magic site discussed the poor appearance of a well-known performer on an instructional video. I was amazed and shocked to see how chewed up and infected, bruised the magician's fingers were. When they came in for the close-up on the explanation, each hand had at least two or more fingers that really looked awful. And this from a guy who works for big bucks doing close-up. That's sad, and sadly not uncommon. Stage performers should have decent-looking hands and fingernails, and close-up performers must have hands that don't call attention to themselves. Almost like a hand model. Now, I have some problems with my hands that, so when I first started out working, I was working in a more laborious job. I was moving flagstone. And so I have some scars from various things from that job. So that's one thing. Now, the other problem that I have that I've really need to really look into, and I want to start doing manicures and pedicures, and, well, maybe not the foot one, but fingers for sure. So I have some splits on my thumbs my nails, and it's something that I've really needed to look at because they won't grow past a certain point without splitting. Very important things that we need to look at because self care is important, and not just for performing. If you know that there's something going on, don't ignore it. Figure out a way to get it fixed. I implore you. Health is so important. Okay, so look at your hands. Do you see anything that looks bad? If you do, remedy the situation. And if you do work close up, and especially if you work for the big bucks, be aware that it's become somewhat common to see men getting manicures. It could be a good investment. You're taking care. These are your money makers. Take care of them. Shoes. Dull, scuffed shoes can be seen and will be noted by more people than you may realize. I have seen performers in tuxedos walk out with scuffed street shoes. That tells the audience this is someone who doesn't do the big gigs. Women especially tend to notice shoes. Sorry for the overtly sexist comment, but women typically tend to be more fashion conscious than men. I have personally sold shoes for a period of time in my life, like in the stores. So I think of shoes. My wife got annoyed all the time. We'd be out at the amusement park or down at the mall, whatever, and I'll be like, yeah, look at that. Ooh, got a new style there. Okay, what do you have going on there? I'd stop people and be like, you have Uno Nikes? What is happening in the world? Why? Where are mine? Did you bring me some? Where do I get them? Things like that. I don't know if they were Nike. I don't remember, but they have Uno brand shoes, and I'm like, I need these in my life and on my feet right now. Just spend a little extra for top quality, comfortable shoes that are in style now, and keep them clean and polished. I'm interjecting a lot here because this is a preference thing. I have gone on record multiple times and I have told people never ever tell me what I can wear on my feet, because just like your hands, your feet are so important, especially in everything that we do. We're walking around. I've had toe trouble throughout my life. The shoes that I wear, they're not medical or anything like that, but I wear things that are comfort first. I have to. I have to at this point in my life. And because I've sold so many shoes and I've seen what people buy and what people have brought back, I'm like, we're going to have a middle ground here. I'm going to wear what works best for me, even in a job that says this is required. I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to be like, look, here are the reasons why I cannot comply with that. Be you, but also have a good reason. Glasses. Glasses. If possible, don't wear them. What? Just kidding. If laser corrective surgery isn't practical or doesn't appeal to you, consider getting contact lenses, at least for your shows, if not for full time use. When I performed full time, I wore 1 day disposable contacts, a major breakthrough in convenience for the traveling performer, because you have nothing to carry except the lenses. Your eyes communicate with the audience, and glasses block or reduce the twinkle in your gaze. If you must wear glasses, get the most stylish frames you can afford. And remember, it changes every few years. Pay the premium for the thinnest, lightest, most scratch resistant lenses available. Cheap lenses look cheap. You don't want that. And an absolute rule for glasses, get non reflective coatings on your lenses. During one of my lectures for the PEA, I literally received gas from the onlookers when I switched back and forth between glasses with and without the glare blocking feature. The difference cannot be appreciated until seen well eye to eye. Clean your glasses just before your show. If your glasses slip down your nose, there are two ways to push them back up. You can either use your forefinger applied to the center of the bridge, which looks dorky, or you can use two fingers on the side to lift and push, which looks better. Better still, get your specs adjusted so they don't slip. If you push your glasses up, please don't use your middle finger unless you are trying to make a specific point. It's true because everything that you do on stage is choreographed. So if your glasses are slipping or something's out of alignment, or say the shirt that you got for a specific part of the show, when you go to get something or move, always keeps pulling out of the back. Now you've got this riffle, and you will have to adjust. It gets awkward. So just know what you're wearing and know what works and what doesn't work. All that being said, glasses can also be an artistic choice or could be part of your brand. Just be sure that's a conscious decision. Now, here's something that I'm looking into. It's called moon lenses. It's shaped like the round ones, which are my preference, and they rotate and they become they darken the lenses into sunglasses. It's techie, It's like I love that type of idea, so I would definitely run that in everyday life. Handkerchief. Yes, I know this seems hopelessly outdated. I don't care. Carry a clean cotton handkerchief in your back pocket every time you go on stage. Three reasons. Always, 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 always. In your entire career, you may never sneeze on stage, but if you do, whipping out a handkerchief looks much classier than using your sleeve. Agreed. You handle props, and props can chip or splinter and make you bleed. Again, a handkerchief beats your clothing for sapping up body fluids. Most importantly, as the old commercial used to say, never let them see you sweat. And this isn't your silk. This isn't your magic prop. This is separate because this is definitely something I wanted to cover in another video that I've heard so many people talk about. I have a specific vanity pack that it only carries utility. There's no magic in there. We're talking lotions. We're talking extra handkerchief. Those types of things that you might want to have water. That are completely separate from your magic stuff. And it's a must have. It's a must have. And you'll find what you need and what you don't need. Like maybe a utility knife or something like that, like a utility tool, something that you're going to need on the road that you might not be able to find or find quickly. So get one. And you will sweat. You sweat because you're nervous, because you're moving around, and because you're under lights. Stage lights bake performers. Fast food restaurants keep their McGlobes warm under lights that look suspiciously similar to stage lights. Use your handy 100% cotton handkerchief to pat yourself dry. It's not a pleasant topic, but I would rather see a performer use the hanky than drip perspiration on the stage. His props, or yuck, his volunteers. Um, Josh Norbido talked about this because he doesn't have the hair. So they talked about potentially him and Nick were talk on the Magic Guys podcast. If you're not watching it, watch it. They have a special lotion that they've gotten, the antiperspirant, that really helps them too. So, something because having the hair, it does block some of it, but on your face and everything like that. But they have something that they use, and they keep the cloth handy. So, and if you have to practice with that too, because nothing says awkward like wiping your face awkwardly. You get it. Lastly, never blow your nose into a handkerchief. Not on stage or off! Exclamation point. That's the first one of the chapter. It's completely unsanitary. Use tissues and only in private. No one wants to see or hear that. Your jacket. Gotta love a good jacket. Button your jacket before you walk out. Check that your lapels are straight and that the pocket flaps are tucked in. You can open your jacket later in the show, but start out looking your best. A suit jacket, and especially a double-breasted jacket, which goes in and out of style, flopping around when you walk to the center of the stage signals, I'm not all that concerned about being here. A brief note on that. There's a couple of guys that I watch that talk I think there's the Gentleman's Wake is one of them you can check out. But there's a couple of them that have said this. They do not chase fads. They chase styles, which are different. Fads, like they were saying, go in and out of style. Style being the larger encompassing idea. Fads are the ones that like bell-bottom jeans, like they go in and out of style, things like that. But styles, there are specific styles that are always classy. And they have, like, when the fad goes away, this is what people go back to. So they're always good to consider. A nice three-piece suit, things like that. Something that's clean cut. Watch these guys and figure out what is something that, if you happen to have it on you, this would be a weird analogy, but let's say you're on the road for a tour and you're putting on the suit and you get breaking news. It's out of style. You can't wear it. You cannot wear it tonight because you'll get laughed out of town. That's over the top. But what do? You got to go out and get some new clothes. You wear it anyway. So maybe pick a style that's classy and not a fad, so that the style is always solid. Something to consider. Watch these guys. You got to have a guy for everything or a girl for everything. You go on YouTube, you got to have a triage mechanic. Just somebody that you can call when you broke down on the side of the road who can give you information straight. Or who can come out in the middle of a blizzard and fix something for you because you're close. Got to have people like that. You got to have people on YouTube for your attire. You got to have people on YouTube for your magic. You got to have your comics. You got to have, where do you go to get your dopamine? Things like that. Have somebody for something, and then always be looking around, shopping around to find more and better things, because there's more people out there. Anyway, let's finish up your shirt. The following applies strictly to male magicians. I certainly am not qualified to offer fashion tips to females, magical or otherwise. Aside from reminding you to wear a clean, pressed in-style shirt that goes with the rest of your outfit, there's only one thing to know about shirts. Never wear a short-sleeved shirt with a jacket. What? Exclamation point. It is acceptable to wear a short sleeve dress shirt with a jacket only if you are a NASA engineer, a high school math teacher, or a member of those few other professions for whom the description nerd is taken as a compliment. If it's unbearably hot, take your jacket off after you begin. If the room is warm, the audience will forgive you. And if you are over 40 and thinking about going on with an untucked shirt, don't. What we're talking about here, make sure that the shirt that you got, because now it's in style, it's in fashion, it's yeah, we're on to your voice, chapter 8. Closing notes here. So there are shirts that are designed that have the seam is designed to be worn like a jersey, it's not tucked in, it's fine. It's cut that way. It looks good. It falls properly. And there's no like inseam or anything. There's no seams at the bottom. It's got a cuff on it, so it looks good. Don't do that unless that's your style. You can get away with it. That's fine if that's your style. But also thinking about the jacket thing, he says, "Oh, don't take it off unless there's a reason." All that, Mr. Rogers. Think about it. Think about the presentation of Mr. Rogers. He's wearing these nice suits. He comes in and then he puts a sweater on. All that. There's a reason for that to happen. So if there's a reason where like, oh, you're coming home and you're like, "Hey, everybody, welcome to my little slice of magic here. Let's go ahead and get more comfortable. Take the coat off. Maybe have like a coat rack already set up so you don't have to put it on your chair like I did. This is my formal or informal setting. But if you're doing it on stage, you're going to want to put it over there. But also keep in mind, if you're taking off your jacket, your pocket management is off, right? Because I include my jacket pockets as part of my pocket management. And if it's 5 feet away from me, what's the reason for that? And what's the justification for going to the jacket now? So keep that in mind. Make sure that you understand how all these things work, and make sure to work on your appearance, whether you want something like this or more of my other flavor, which I have 2 different styles. My primary style would normally be this, but what I'm trying to work my way into is more of a colorful style where things are more loose and comfortable. As I get older, it's harder to, one, maintain this type of style. 2, it's hard to maintain this type of style. So, Josh Norbito talks about this. He's really into a lot of hip hop dance and beatboxing and all that. So he'll dress in the gorgeous suits, and he said that he's trying to work his style into more of a flexible, formal, where he gets to kind of incorporate his hip hop into it, because he does do a lot of acrobatic things in his show. He moves around, so suits can be stuffy for that. So a lot of the stuff you can buy today is flex material, so it just stretches with you. It's great. So thank you guys for joining me for today for the Your Appearance section of this chapter 7 of Maximum Entertainment. Don't forget to click all the things. We really want to make sure that we can donate one of these books. We're coming up on a third of the way through this. So thank you, everybody. Remember, stay positive, stay active, and stay awesome. And don't forget to subscribe, because it really does help out the channel. And of course, check out the video that's just for you. Yeah, it's just for you. Ta-da!